Hi friends, this is Gail O'Neill, and I teach stamping. I hope you enjoy. Vellum, vellum, vellum. It starts out just a sheet of vellum. Putting it through a folder can do all these things. I'm going to do some of the things I want to show you. So, putting these through folders, you can, let's see where I put it. You can stamp using the same color. So stamp on here, and then your top ones stamp on the vellum, and then put that on a card. This one was also a two-step stamping, so it was stamped, and you want to find a place that you can hide. If you do it on white, you can use this glue, and you'll see on one of my cards I just put like, little dots. Sometimes it'll show up a little bit, but you try to hide it, and you'll see a few of my tricks on hiding it. For my first card, I want to show you something very simple. And this is just taking a piece of DSP, and I will put all the dimensions on when I put it on Facebook. And I'm thinking you can hear me okay, because I put a microphone on today because I was told I was hard to hear the other day. So I will put the dimensions on YouTube when I put it on there. But this is just piece of DSP, and we're going to put this I put through the subtle folder. So nice. So we're just taking this, putting that down, and then something else with vellum. If you have a DSP, and I did do a card that's very bright and you want to just tone it down a little bit. So if you put a piece of vellum on top of it, you see how that tones that down? But that one doesn't need to be. I like it just the way it is. So what I did is I embossed in gold on this piece of vellum, and we're going to put that. Oh, that really should have gone on there first. Okay, we're going to do something a little different. Gail, you're really off. Okay, so I'm just going to put that down. How am I going to do that now? There's a little bit. So I'm going to fold it. What I did on this one was folded it over that. I have to remember what I'm doing before I do it. But I think I'm going to like this look also. So you put that down. And then this is going to go on top of that. Let's get one in the middle there too. I kind of like it going all the way across, but if I had planned that, I would have left it a little bit longer. So then what you can do is just put a couple little drops. And that is not going to be seen, as long as you use just a little bit. You can also, when you're putting a big piece down, take a sponge and glue, like on your silicone sheet, put your glue, get all that, and then dab it onto the back, and that will make it like almost like clear immediately, so that you don't see it when you put it down. Get tips and things all. So you tell me which one you like better, all the way across or just here. But that's an easy thing to do when you have pieces of DSP left over. Then to go back to when I showed you all of these, what you can do. So here's a card that I did, the vellum in the background. And then you have to come up with little tricks to hide where you're going to put it down. And sometimes you can leave vellum a little bit loose on the bottom. It tends to curl, so you want to try and get as many places as you can. So these are the two largest in the rectangle stitch dies. And I try to get them as even as I can. And what I use, because it really doesn't rip the paper, is removable labeling tape, and it's Post-it. So this whole piece is Post-it, and it really comes off better than anything else I've used. So I already ran this through, but you're going to do your regular, and here's the rest of my, so I can show it. But I always use, it's like a thin piece of plastic. And then you have the piece that comes with it. Eventually I'm going to need a new one because that's cracking. And then it's going to be between your layers. So I already ran that through. And you see how easy this is to come off? But you want it to be as even as possible. Oh, I had something else in there, left over from the other one. So that didn't go all the way because of that. So you do have to make sure that you're nice. But this would be the piece it cuts. And this is still usable. I just have to trim that a little bit. So that is how that is done. And then you have this piece to use on something else. On something else. Okay, so let's put this together. And I already did the coloring. You've already seen me do this, and this was with the blends, and I did the two birds a little different. I was having fun. Okay, so the first thing you're going to do is put your frame onto your vellum. Oh, I like this mat. And the frame is a little bit smaller than the vellum, and I like that look. I like it sticking out. I really like it. So silly. That's because I know I have a Bloody Mary waiting for me. I had my surgeon appointment in Jersey today, so we stopped at Bottle King. So I have my big bottle of vodka and my Bloody Mary mix. Okay, so that goes on first. So then you have all this where the frame is to hide your glue. So you can use a little bit more than normal to get it down there. Oh, and if I would have put the birds on first, you could put them there too. I'm doing everything backwards tonight. But that would have been the idea, to put this down and then put your glue behind that also. It's another hiding place, but it'll stay down fine with just being around the border. And then what I did with this one is I put some glue on the feet and a little bit on the tail. And then I took some dimensionals. And I like doing this sometimes. It just gives it a different look. So it makes it, oh, Gail. And these have to come off before you glue. Okay. And then our words, happy day. I need one more drop of glue right under that foot. Betterer. So there's that in two different birdie colors. I even did the tree a little different too. I stamped it in black. So let's put that aside. That goes there. And before I do that last card, let me bring in some of these. So here's a card, and I want to show you a trick with this, but embossed on the vellum, and then muted that paper. It's light colors, but it's bright. So this kind of dressed it up a little bit. And what I did with that bow, which is really, like, you would never think you could do this, but if you cut a piece, and then you're going to think I'm crazy, but you take some glue on your fingers, and you can probably use more than what I used. Then, when you tie your bow, it's a little stiffer. You can get rid of all that twisty that usually happens. Of course, it's not because I'm in camera. And if you have enough stick on it, I didn't put, as even on that one, I didn't put that much. And I can feel there's not much on that side. But it's easier to pull. And if you have enough on here, and I guess you could go back and put a little bit more, but then it will stick. And I didn't do it on this one, but it's just easier to tie, and you don't get that twist in it. So that was fun when I learned that. Okay, so that's that one. This was a little punch circle, and I cut it in quarters and put them on the corners. This is a card that I had done a few weeks ago. It was on one of my videos, and that's already printed vellum. This I did today. So here's where I hid underneath there, and here I put some glue, but on this paper it showed up. On white it really won't, but it's fun sometimes to just do something in white. And I found a card. I was trying to find some other ones, but this card is one that I did a while ago. This would be gorgeous in this set, in embossing it on vellum and then putting it over a dark color. So here's one. This one I kind of cased, but I did it very different. I think it was Frenchie, and she did the bokeh dots, and then she used the same stamp. I used a different saying, and she didn't do all this dressy stuff. She just had plain paper behind it. But this was fun. So this is an overlay also. And then I did this one. So these you would call like a stained glass look, and I kind of went crazy with colors, but you don't have to do it that many colors. And then I did, the flower there. So, and then here, the overlay with the teacups, I used our new crackle stamp. So it's really very light. It's very subtle. That's what I want to use. And I use the subtle folder. But I mean, you can see it makes it very subtle instead of stamping directly onto the teapot. And then I also did the flowers that way and then glued them on and colored them from the back. And that's another thing. I didn't get there yet. Let me do that before I do that. But you can take vellum. Let me put a piece of paper under it now. But you can sponge any color on it. The whole thing with vellum is it takes time to dry. So if you were doing these, and you can see I got a little ink dot. So you would do them, either use your blower, but that will warp the paper, or just put them aside, let them dry, and they will. You'll see it'll be shiny when it's wet, but it takes a while. And you color on the back. If you want it light, if you want it darker, you color on the front. But you can take and make this any color you want. So I haven't tried our sponge brayer because I'm not a fan of it. But I used to do this with our rubber brayer and just color whatever color you want to make it. And then you can do things on it. Somewhere I had another little project that I was working on and wanted to show you, and that kind of went by the wayside. So that might have to come another video, but that was embossing with a tool. And I don't understand where it went. I thought, oh, here it is. Here it is. Here it is. So here's another one. I heat embossed, and then you take a pad. I knew this was out for a reason. And you take an embossing tool, and I always keep wax paper when I'm doing that, even when I use ours for scoring paper. It goes much smoother. So a little bit of wax paper. And when you do that, and I did rip in one spot, you have to be careful about your pressure. I invested in these because these are like too small to do it. You have to be so ultra careful. But just like the embossing folder does, so can you see how that's white? And then you can go and color it. We'll do this one pink. That's light. Let's go a little darker so you can see it. What are we using? Calypso Coral. Oh, you don't want to do it from the front when you emboss. It takes it off. So I know what I used. Yeah, you don't want to use blends. See how we learn the hard way? Yeah, this, you don't want to use your blends from the front. But this is the difference. From the back, it's going to be very subtle. And with the embossing, you don't really see it. This is how I did the birds. From the back, you don't have to be real neat, and then you see it like that. But with this embossing, you want to go from the front. And I think I like when I do this that I stamp it rather than emboss it, because it will loosen it up when you're doing that. But it's just another look to play with. Another thing you can do with vellum. Okay. So with this one, I did a little bit of what I did last video or the video before, but you can make your own background paper. So we're going to take the leaf stamp and some mossy meadow and randomly just stamp that around. And because it doesn't dry immediately, I usually take it and kind of rub it off a little bit, gently. So you can see it's there. And then color it from the back. You can also, from the back, watercolor. The only thing, though, it really, really warps. So depending on what the project that you're going to be, you know, putting it together and hiding where you put your glue. But I've seen it and it's gorgeous. And it takes a long time to dry unless you heat emboss it. I should have done one of these in advance so it would be nice and dry. Okay, so I'm gonna kind of get some of that off. Okay. So now I was debating. You see how, and I did the inside of that one. Not going to do the inside of this one now, though. So I was debating. You see how this looks? Whether I want it to be brighter. Because depending on what you put under, I like it both ways. Okay, so in black, I'm going to stamp on this from Vertical. What was that set from? It is this set, Vertical Greetings. So we're going to do that in black. So we're actually hiding, this one has a lot to hide under. Ooh, that birthday came out good. Better than the first one. Okay, so if you remember to get this, it's 2 pieces through the machine. The top one you use for another project. Here it is. And then the bottom one does not cut through, so you have it like this. So we'll put that together. And I lost my glue. And I left the pin off, so let's see how good that... Oh, it's good. So if you remember, we don't have to really fill it up. The glue is good. Just get some main spots. And we're going to get it right onto this and wipe off any boo-boo. so we're going to put this down. Make sure your cardstock is the right direction. Okay, so that's going to go there, and that's going to go there. We're good. And I love Granny Apple Green. It is my favorite. That and Mossy Meadow. Which I use both of them together. Okay, so once we have this down, in all those places that we put that down, we now have a place to hide all this glue. Or tape, whatever you decide to use. So then we're going to line that up. And I'm just going to turn it over for a second. And then we can put down our butterflies. And these were cut out of the paper using the punch. And I'm not going to raise them up because this is already raised. Let's see, so one will go there. I didn't even put bling. And you can curl up the ends if you want to of the butterfly wings. So that's it. Pretty simple. But so much you can do with vellum, and a lot of times we forget to use it. So let me bring everything back. Let me put this pin in there, or I'll be sorry later. I think I'm sorry now. Nope, it's in. So there's those, and then wherever I put the other ones. Wow, I had a lot tonight, didn't I? We'll get rid of that one. So thank you for joining me. I hope you enjoyed. Hope you learned something. And raise them up. Where do you want me to raise them up? Can you see them? Raise them up. Yeah, that was pretty good doing that. Thank you. I'm glad you enjoyed them. So I will see you on Sunday. I don't know with what. I never do. But it'll be something. If you have ideas, if there's something you absolutely want to see, just let me know and I will work on it. So see you Sunday. Thanks for joining me. Good night.